something for you. We got something for you, you. It's something Megapod shiny. It's wrapped in Megapod plastic. Put on your Megapod jammy. It's time for Megapod-tastic. 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 Megapod-tastic.
Good morning, it's Crazy Joe, and I am being completely washed out by this light here. What happens if I turn this light out? Is it going to look better if I turn that light out? Moderately. I need to change the lighting in this room. There's just, that's better. If I put my hands right here, I look, I can't stay like that with my hands there. But welcome to Crazy Joe's Concession Stand. It is Thursday evening, and I was just watching a Christmas movie with the family, and I figured, heck, let's go live and talk Christmas movies. But you know what? I gotta tell you, I gotta turn a light on, because if I turn the lights on, this big white blur you see here will fix. Hang on, let me get a light on. We can fix this. Whoa. There you go. That is much better. That is much better. So yeah, welcome to Crazy Joe's Concession Stand. Happy to have you here on this Thursday evening. I don't know how long I'm going to be on. Probably no more than an hour, if that. I sent some invites out. We'll see if anyone wants to pop on, talk Christmas movies with me. I did see that a couple of the MME team are talking about like video game awards or something. That's a topic I just can't join in on. I don't know enough. I don't know enough about modern video games. If you look and see the Tron machine back there, I have a Tron machine. I have this Mortal Kombat machine. That's my era of video games. The modern video games they kind of leave me cold, for being honest here. Jeffrey Miller says, welcome, Jeffrey. Jeffrey says, why this late? Well, because the wife and kids went to bed. That's why. It's hard for me to go on too early, because, everybody's awake and we're doing stuff usually as a family. We were just watching a Christmas movie. That's what made me think, let's go on. Let's talk Christmas movies, because I was just watching a Christmas movie. Brent Mania says, Muppet Family Christmas needs a physical release. Well, you can find one. This is an uncut version. I think this came from, is this British? Yeah, it says UK on it. This is a UK disc. I don't know how old this is. I found it on eBay. But this is the uncut version. Everything's here. The uncut musical numbers, it's all here. Unfortunately, this title is a legal problem, because the Muppets and the Sesame Street Muppets and the Fraggles are under 3 different ownerships. You've got Disney owning these guys. The Sesame Street gang's in here, owned by Sesame Workshop. The Fraggles are in here, owned by the Henson Company. So it does make this one kind of a legal headache. And even before that was the case, Sony was putting this disc out. They didn't want to pay for the music rights. So several musical numbers were cut out of the old Sony 90s version of this disc to get away with, not pay. They didn't want to pay for Sleigh Ride or a couple songs they didn't want to pay for. So, yeah, it would be nice if we can get a really good Blu-ray. Wouldn't it be great if we can get this on Blu-ray? A Blu-ray release, uncut. That would be ideal. But I don't see it happening. And Brian Mania says Ernest Saves Christmas is a good one. Yes, it is. I love Ernest Saves Christmas. Jacob's here. Good to see you, Jacob. Butts Unplugged is here. I'm clicking on your comment, Butts Unplugged, and it's not showing up. Sometimes this thing just doesn't show up. Brent Mania says, I only see my comments nowhere else, no one else's. Well, I guess it depends what channel you're on. Brent Mania, because we are streaming live on 2 different channels. So if you're over on the MME channel, you'll see the whatever comments the MME people are making. If you're on this channel, you'll see those comments. I can see them all. I can see all the comments. And then Jacob says, I never saw that. Muppet Family Christmas, Jacob, is that the one you never saw? It's a wonderful, wonderful special. It's one of the greatest. There's a lot of great Muppet Christmas shows and specials and movies, but this is probably the best of the bunch. Yeah, I'm going to say this is the best Muppet Christmas project out of Muppet Christmas Carol, Muppet Very Merry Muppet Christmas, Letters to Santa, the old John Denver Christmas specials. Lot of good Muppet Christmas specials, but this is the best of the best, I think. Harry mentions Emmett Otter. I actually have Emmett Otter right here on my desk too. Again, Emmett Otter is a victim of several different versions, because for a while there they were cutting Kermit. They were cutting Kermit out of it. And then they put Kermit back in, but they didn't put all the Kermit. You only got Kermit in the opening scene, but you didn't get any of the other Kermit. Now they added Kermit back again at the end. But when I first saw it on HBO, Kermit had a running narration. He was telling the story, and Kermit's narration ran throughout the whole show when I first saw it on HBO back in the early 80s. And none of the versions have Kermit's narration. So, yeah, Lisa's here. Good to see you, Lisa. Muppet Family Christmas. I'm not sure I have that one yet. Got to solve that if so. Try to get your hands on this British DVD. It is region free. It will play on an American player, and it has all the cut scenes. That is the version you want. And I am overheating. Hang on, I got to take off my sweatshirt because it's too hot down here. Voltaire says Trading Places is the best Christmas movie. That's a good one. And it's a local film. It's a Philadelphia film. My good friend, the Philly Captain, did a filming locations of Trading Places. In fact, I went to a couple of the filming locations with him last time Adam the Woo was in town. So, yeah, that's a good one. Trading Places. And Jacob says there's a lot of Christmas movies, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. There are so many Christmas movies, and there's so many good Christmas movies, and they keep making more Christmas movies. They keep adding to all these Christmas movies. Every year we get new ones. Like last year we got Spirited with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds, which is one of my absolute favorites now. It's one of my absolute favorites. Just came out last year. Last year, I watched Spirited 3 times, and it made my top 5 best of 2022. That's how good Spirited was. So I need to watch Spirited again. And that's part of the problem, is when you have all this great stuff, all this great Christmas content, how do you fit it all in? How do you decide what you're going to watch and what you're going to skip? How do you do it? I mean, so many of these movies become traditions to watch these films year after year after year. And then as new and more films come out, there's only so many hours in the day. So how do you pick and choose which specials you have to watch each year and which ones maybe you got to skip because there's just not the time? That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Brent Mania says Rankin Bass collection should be the almost complete collection. Santa Baby isn't on it. The company owns that. Should let it go. I don't know Santa Baby. I don't think I've ever seen that one, but I do have the new Blu-ray set they just put out. James says Die Hard's my all-time favorite Christmas movie. It's a good one, and it's going back to theaters tomorrow. Tomorrow it'll be back in theaters. I got tickets for Tuesday. And yeah, there you go. Brent Mania says Muppet Family Christmas is on YouTube. Yes, it is. You can find it uncut on YouTube. You can find uncut versions, so you do have that going for you. Brent Mania asks, "Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? It's Die Hard is or isn't a Christmas movie?" Well, I say it absolutely is. And quite frankly, I say nobody has the power to tell you it isn't. If somebody tells you something that you love, something that's part of your holiday tradition, if somebody tells you that something that is part of your holiday tradition doesn't count, they're gatekeeping. They're gatekeeping Christmas. It's that simple. It's that simple because nobody can tell you how to celebrate your holiday. Let me give you a good example I always give. I come from an Italian family. I was raised in an Italian family. Well, I get married, and I have a 5-year-old stepdaughter. Now she's a teenager, but when I got married, my stepdaughter, 5 years old, and her father, my wife's ex-husband, was German. I'm not German. I wasn't raised German, wasn't raised with German traditions, but she was because her father was German. And she wanted to have a pickle ornament. There was this pickle ornament that she said that the tradition is you hide the pickle in the tree and everyone has to find where the pickle's hidden. Apparently, this is a German tradition. It's not celebrated by Italians. I never celebrated this before. So that has never been part of my holiday, but it was part of hers. So I can't tell her that's wrong. That's not how you do Christmas. Italian families on Christmas Eve tend to very often celebrate the Feast of the Seven Fishes. My family growing up celebrated the Feast of the Seven Fishes on Christmas Eve. If you're not Italian, you might not know what that is. That's not part of your holiday. So whenever I hear people go, Die Hard isn't a Christmas movie, I'm like, it's not part of your Christmas. That's what you're telling me. You're telling me it's not part of your Christmas, but you can't tell someone else how to celebrate theirs. And if watching Die Hard every year is part of your tradition, if the family gets around, watches Die Hard together every year, nobody can take that away from you. I watch it every year, usually. James says, I've heard from some that Gremlins is a Christmas movie. I can definitely see that. Gremlins is my favorite Christmas movie. I watch Gremlins every Christmas Eve. That is my absolute favorite Christmas movie. It is just, and that's another one. I've never heard. I heard somebody once say Gremlins wasn't a Christmas movie, but I'm like, I don't even understand how you make that argument. I mean, it takes place on Christmas. Gizmo was a Christmas present. Christmas engulfs that movie. The imagery, the music. We open with, Christmas, the snow's falling down. We got, Do you hear what I hear? I can't hear the song, Do You Hear What I Hear? If that song comes on, Do You Hear What I Hear? All I can think of is Billy Peltzer's mother with the knife coming up the stairs because the record went on. Like, that song is intrinsically connected to that scene in that movie. I love Gremlins so much. Anthony says, Christmas movies have never been my thing. Most of them aren't very good. I can't agree with that. I think there's, quite frankly, I think there's too many good ones. I don't know how to make time for them all. Let me show you a couple of my favorites. I got piled up here. Here's one, 1985, one of the oldest that I try to watch every year. Santa Claus the movie. Dudley Moore, John Lithgow, David Hiddleston, Santa Claus the movie by the Salkinds, Alexander Salkind. This was their follow-up to Superman. They did the Superman movies, then they did Supergirl, and then they did Santa Claus. And if you watch Santa Claus the movie, you'll notice it mirrors Superman the movie in format. Superman the movie opens with the origin of Superman. Then you cut to like a montage of Superman learning to use his powers and kind of his first night out. You have this montage scene. And then they introduce a villain plot. And Santa Claus the movie follows that format almost exactly. We open with the origins of Santa Claus. We have montages of Santa through the years. Then we come to the present day, and we're introduced to John Lithgow as BZ from BZ Toys, and he's our villain. And then we get our villain plot. It's like structurally, not story wise. Like, I'm not saying the story is a ripoff of Superman the movie. It certainly isn't. But structurally, it's structured exactly the same as Superman the movie, and no surprise, it's from the producers of Superman the movie. And I love this movie. I absolutely love this movie. I think this is a phenomenal movie. John Lithgow doesn't think too high of it. If you look on YouTube, John Lithgow called this movie a career killer. Clearly, it did not kill his career. In fact, I just was watching. I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I was watching A Christmas Movie with the family, which was what made me think, hey, let's do a stream and talk Christmas movies. The Christmas movie I was watching with the family is Daddy's Home 2. Daddy's Home 2, starring Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg and John Lithgow from Santa Claus the Movie, playing Will Ferrell's dad. That's an underrated movie. Very underrated movie. Daddy's Home 2. Nobody talks about Daddy's Home 2. It's only a couple years old, but it's like it came out, and I don't hear anyone talk about that. That's a good movie. That's a really good movie. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it. It's a lot of fun. And does that make Will Ferrell? Is Will Ferrell currently the king of Christmas? You think about it. Is he the king of Christmas? Because every year people watch Elf. Every year people watch Elf. And now, a couple years ago, he does Daddy's Home 2, which is great. Another Will Ferrell Christmas movie. And last year, he puts out Spirited, which, like I said, is one of my favorites. It's only been around 1 year, but I adore that movie. So that's 3 great Will Ferrell Christmas movies. Does that make Will Ferrell the king of Christmas? I don't know. I don't know. James says, I love Violent Night too. It's worth to see it as Santa as an action star. I agree. I got to watch that again. I really like that one. Brent Mania says, who remembers the Ed Asner TV movie, The Gathering? That's a good one. I don't remember that, but Ed Asner has been in several Christmas movies. He was Santa Claus in Elf, and he was in a not very good Christmas movie. He was in a Christmas movie that I think we'd all like to scrub our brains and forget happened. Christmas Vacation 2, Cousin Eddie's Island Adventure. Ed Asner, unfortunately, has that stain on his resume. Just curious, is there anyone in the chat that likes Christmas Vacation 2? We're not going to pick on you. I'm just curious. I want to hear if there's anyone out there who feels the need to watch that movie every year and is like, that one's not so bad. I'm curious. If you think Christmas Vacation 2 is a solid film and that my assessment is wrong on that, I welcome hearing about it. Please let us know. Jacob asks if I've ever watched Krampus from 2015. I did watch Krampus. I think I watched Krampus twice, but let me tell you the strange thing about Krampus. Even though I definitely watched it twice, I think. I'm pretty sure I watched it twice. Can't remember a thing about it. Can't remember anything about it. I'm not saying I didn't like it. I'm just saying I don't remember it. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. We got a guest. And I am very excited. Get ready. If you're not ready for tons of 40-year-old inside jokes that are just going to make the rest of you go, what the hell are they talking about? Maybe now is the time to tune out, because my good old high school buddy Dan from Dan Reviews It has just arrived.
Hello, Crazy Joe.
Hey, good to see you.
Thank you for the invite. I just got home from work, so I saw you were going live. I said, well, let's talk Christmas.
Yeah, I figured, I know you get off work late, so I don't usually get to go on until late because Christine and the kids we were just watching Daddy's Home 2, and then Christine and the kids went to bed. I said nobody talks about Daddy's Home 2. It came out a couple years ago, and it doesn't. It's almost like it came and was immediately forgotten. I like that movie a lot. I think it's funny. I think it's heartwarming. Look, I'll admit, at the end when they all start singing, I get a little tear. What do you think of that movie?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's better than the first, slightly. I gave the first one also, a fairly positive grade. I think they're both kind of middling for me. I think if I remember, maybe the first one's a C. But yeah, no, I like Daddy's Home too.
Lost you for like half a second. You disappeared, then came right back again.
Oh,
That was weird. It
I'm
was like you
back.
were like you blipped. You blipped. Like it was like the MCU, but you came. It didn't take you 5 years to come back.
Thank God. No, Daddy's Home 2 is yeah, it's fine. I do enjoy it slightly more than the first.
Okay. All right.
What
what's
have I
your
missed? What movies have you talked about so far?
well, I was kind of going through some of the DVDs I have stacked in front of me, and I'm being lazy. I didn't stack any new DVDs in front of me. These are actually I had them from a stream I did a couple nights ago. But we talked about the Muppet Family Christmas.
Oh, okay.
The,
I don't know. I don't know that one. I know, of course, the Muppet Christmas Carol. I've seen that many times. What is the Muppet Family Christmas?
This is the one from 1987. One of the last projects Jim Henson ever worked on, where they go to Fozzie Bear's mother's for Christmas, and and they get snowed in. They get snowed in, and the Sesame Street gang gets stuck there. They're out caroling, and the Fraggles show up, and literally every Henson creation spends Christmas together.
Okay,
which makes
that does seem vaguely familiar.
Makes this a copyright nightmare now that all those entities are owned by different companies. So,
right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Emmett Otter. Talk to Emmett Otter.
Okay, of course.
A little bit. And one of my personal favorites from 1985, Santa Claus the movie.
Yes, now I've never seen this, but I see it on your Facebook feed like all the time. Every year you post about this movie. Dudley Moore is in it, right? He's the
Dudley
star?
Moore, David Hiddleston, who we best know as the Big Lebowski, the real Big Lebowski, not the dude. Yeah. He plays Santa, and we have John Lithgow as the villain. It's from the producers of Superman the movie, and it feels like a Superman movie. Like it's made like a Superman movie. Like if you watch Superman the movie and you watch Santa Claus the movie, structurally they follow the same format. This was actually their next, after Superman 3 and Supergirl failed at the box office. They were like, we'll do Santa Claus next.
Interesting. Okay.
This movie is so 80s. And then that might be part of why. Though Christine hit the nail on the head, I think. Christine knows me so well. She should. She's my wife. And she said, I think probably the reason you love that movie so much, my dad died 10 years ago. Yeah. I was very, very close to my dad. And she said, I know why you love that movie so much. Your dad took you to see it. That's what your dad. It's true. My dad took me to see
the Bob connection.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that might be it. But this movie,
makes sense.
I love this movie so much. And John Lithgow called it a career killer. Clearly it did not kill his career, but he is not fond of this movie. So.
Wow, that's interesting. 2 Lithgow movie mentions already.
Yeah, we're having let's have a Lithgow Christmas.
Now, have you seen any of the new movies?
You this year?
The new Christmas movies. I just put today on my Dan Reviews It. I reviewed 4 of the brand new streaming Christmas movies.
I don't know of these movies, I don't think.
Okay, so here's the ones I did. Now, I just sort of cherry picked the ones that had like stars I liked or something, but you've got Eddie Murphy and Candy Cane Lane.
Oh, that did pop up. That popped up on my Roku, like recommended on the side. I didn't hear a thing about that movie until Roku started recommending it to me.
Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime, and its Rotten Tomatoes score is right about 50%. And I'd say that tracks. I gave it a C+. I thought it was okay. You have Genie with Melissa McCarthy on Peacock.
Okay, I did see that. I saw the ad.
The trailer. Yeah. Okay. Then I thought that was also okay. I gave that a B-. And then the two ones in the bad column, Dashing Through the Snow on Disney Plus, which is Ludacris and Lil Rel. And then the worst one is Best Christmas Ever on Netflix with Jason Biggs and Heather Graham and Brandy.
Wow, I haven't heard of that one.
So yeah, so those are the 4 I reviewed. But yeah, every year, they trot out their the streaming Christmas movies. I don't do the Hallmark things, but yeah, I'll check out every year. I'll check out a few of the streaming ones. We didn't get any good ones. Like I don't know how you feel about this, but last year we got Spirited with
Oh
Will
yes,
Ferrell and
we were just talking about Spirited. I said not only did I love that movie as a Christmas movie, that made my top 5 best films of the year. When I made
wow.
my best of the year, Spirited was in my top 5.
Okay, so yeah,
We watched it 3 times last year. I saw it in the theater because
okay.
It was the Regal Mystery Movie, and I
I
went
remember you
alone.
saying that. Yeah.
I went alone to the Regal Mystery Movie. I came home. I told Christine. I said, "Holy crap! Can't! I can't wait for you to see this movie." Then it came on. It dropped on Apple. We got the whole family
Yeah,
together. It was my second viewing there first, and of course, Christine went ape shit for it. And then we
it's
watched
so
it
good.
we watched it one more time before the season was out.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean that's the best streaming Christmas movie I can think of in the short history of streaming. I can't think of any that were better than that. I mean, that's really, really a solid film.
Uh, Dante in the chat. This isn't Christmas related, but Dante, he's a local guy from the Philly area.
Okay.
And he's got a question for you. Dante's a hardcore fan of Larry Ferrari. And he
Oh,
says, Dan,
okay.
other than Larry Ferrari, do you
Yeah.
remember Sunday Showcase of Homes, $1 Million Movie, Joe Garcone, The Greengrocer, Sally Star, Action News, and Answers? Now, Action
I
News Issues and Answers. Excuse me.
Okay, I remember some of those. I certainly remember Sally Star, your gal Sal. I for
Yeah.
sure remember her. The Green Grocer. I thought the Green Grocer was maybe it wasn't a national thing. I assumed it was, but I certainly remember the Green Grocer. What about Al Alberts in the showcase?
Oh God, we were talking about. I don't know if you
We've
saw it.
talked about him recently, I think.
I don't know if you saw it, but I did a video with the Philly Captain a week ago on the Crazy Joe Adventures channel.
Oh, I have not. I'm gonna have to look at that.
The Philly Captain and I went to the National Treasure Tour Museum in Oaks, Pennsylvania,
Okay.
and they had an autographed picture of Al Alberts in there, and he got all excited talking about Al Alberts, and he says to the girl who's taking us around, he goes, "Do you know who Al Alberts is?" She says, "No," and he says, "Well, he used to host a show called Showcase every Sunday."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, he was also one of the Four Tops. And he goes, he was not one of the Four Tops. And I'm like, no, he was. And he goes, the Four Tops were all black. He was not one of the Four Tops. It was the Four Aces. He was one of the Four
Oh, I was
Aces.
gonna say
I
four.
got mixed
Yeah,
up. I knew he was one of the Four something, but I said the Four Tops. It was the Four Aces.
that threw me as well. I thought you were going to tell some sort of joke or something. Yeah, okay. The Four Aces. That makes more sense. Four
Yeah,
Tops. I don't think so. And then Captain Noah, of course, as well. Send your pictures to dear old Captain Noah.
Chief Halftown.
And oh yeah, Chief
Wow.
Halftown. Yeah. I remember all that.
All right, here we go into the weeds and alienate the audience.
Yeah, we usually do.
You know how nutty my mom is.
Yes.
Do you want to know one of the greatest things my mom ever said?
Was it about regarding Henry?
No, it was about Chief Halftown.
Okay.
My mom says, Chief Halftown wasn't even really an Indian. He was born right here in America.
Let me tell your viewers about the regarding Henry incident. So
I think I know the one you mean. I think I know the one you mean.
I hope so. Back in the early 90s, I think it was probably 92 maybe, where there was one like couple month period where there were 2 movies out. What About Bob with Bill Murray, which of course everyone remembers and loves. And Richard Dreyfuss was in that, of course. And then Regarding Henry with Harrison Ford, which is about someone, I've never seen it, but it's a drama about, I think he's dying. I don't know if he has dementia or what the story is. But anyway, so your mother went on and on telling her friend about how hard she laughed at Regarding Henry. Funniest movie of the year. She loved it so much. And it turns out, of course, she was talking about What About Bob. Her friend was like slack-jawed that she would be laughing at the dementia film.
Yeah, in fact, it was my aunt. She was telling me.
Okay.
She was telling my aunt. She was saying, "Oh my God, Regarding Henry was so funny," and my aunt was going, "Really? I found it rather depressing myself." She's like, "Well, I laughed and laughed."
Yeah. Comedy event of the season for your mother.
Oh boy.
But anyway, yes. Back to the back to the Christmas portion.
We
Oh God.
got a super chat from Strange Marvel Theories. Thank you, super chat. Or thank you, Strange Marvel Theory. It's late.
Yes.
Does anyone else have a Smitty's movie cinema near them? Smitty's has a full kitchen with a full menu and serves meals and alcoholic drinks. Well, I can tell you, in the Philadelphia region, I've never even heard of Smitty's. So
Yeah, I
there's
have not heard
none
of a
around
Smitty's.
here.
Movie
Yeah.
Tavern sounds like it's maybe the closest to a Smitty's.
Yeah,
in
movie
our
tavern,
area.
or if you're willing to drive up to New York or down to Virginia, there's the
The
with the
Alamo.
one the Alamo. Yeah, they're based out
Yeah.
of Austin, but there's the closest are Virginia and um yeah.
Yeah,
There's
I'm
another one,
unfamiliar with
Tavern
Smitty's.
Movie Grill. I don't know if they went out of business, but there was one called Tavern Movie Grill for a while there.
Okay, I don't know them.
But yeah.
I did the Movie Tavern once with my sister. It was fun. I mean, it was very expensive though.
I loved Movie Tavern until they changed hands. They sold to a
Oh,
chain
okay.
called Marcus Theaters, and
Hmm.
it went, man, the place went to shit. It really did. It was
What year was
disappointing.
that? Do you remember?
Just pre-pandemic,
Okay.
maybe 2018, late 2018 or
Okay. So
2019,
I saw it
somewhere around
after
there.
it changed hands then because I saw Elvis there. So that was last year.
Let me give you, speaking of around 2018 or so, somewhere in that region, I don't have the year in front of me. Here's a Christmas movie, fairly recent, that I quite enjoyed, that I saw at Movie Tavern. That's what jogged my
Okay.
memory. The night before, with Joey G. Levitt, Seth
With
Rogen,
yeah,
Anthony
Seth
Mackie.
Rogen.
I don't know if you
Yeah.
know
Okay.
Joey G. Levitt. That's what he likes to be called. His friends call him Joey G.
Is that right, Joey
You know,
G?
that's what I hear. Hey Pants told me that.
Another John Lithgow connection. Third Rock from the Sun.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. There you go.
The Lithgow cast continues.
Oddly
Yeah.
enough, I was driving yesterday. I was driving in the
Okay.
car, listening to a podcast, and I get a text out of nowhere from another YouTube personality, J2H from the J2H channel, texts me, and all he says is, "French Stewart is the worst actor I've ever seen in my life." Now, I don't know about you, but I can't remember the last time I thought of French Stewart. French Stewart does not pop into my head too often. I don't watch many French Stewart movies.
French Stewart had an arc, a couple of different arcs, I should say, on the sitcom Mom. He was
Okay.
in the first few seasons. He was the boss of the gal. What the hell's her name? The blonde gal from Scary Movie.
Anna Faris, welcome to the party,
And Anna
Taladia.
Faris, thank you, Anna Faris. And then he was on the last couple of seasons after Anna Faris left. Actually, he came back for a few episodes, but that was, I mean, yeah, that's the only time in the last decade probably I've heard of French Stewart.
Well, where it gets weird is he sends me this text, and I'm thinking, this is so odd. I don't remember the last time I even thought of French Stewart, but I'm listening to a podcast while I'm driving, and they were discussing the 1998 Godzilla movie. That was the topic of conversation. And then they
Okay.
said, well, what other movies was Matthew Broderick doing around this time? And someone says, well, he just it was right before he did Inspector Gadget. And then they go, fortunately, he didn't do the second one. He was replaced by French Stewart.
Yes.
And it was within 10 minutes of getting that text. I'm like, what are the odds?
That's very bizarre. Someone that you've not heard about for a long time coming up twice. That is weird for sure.
But I want to say welcome to Taladia Plays. Taladia Plays just joined us.
Hey, man.
Taladia, have you met Dan? This is Dan.
No, this is the first time I'm meeting Dan, and
Yes.
also you missed out earlier, Crazy Joe. Your favorite thing popped up on the Game Awards.
I heard Gonzo was doing
Yes.
a like a presentation or something.
Yeah, I thought you would like to pop in for that.
No, I actually didn't even know it was going on tonight. I'd heard about it online. I saw you were streaming, but I didn't.
Yeah, I was streaming.
I don't.
No,
Yeah, I don't follow. I don't know much about the Game Awards, so I didn't think I would be able to add much to the stream.
No, that's fine. I thought because of the Gonzo thing, maybe you want to pop in for the Gonzo thing and have your little thing, and because I know you love the Muppets, so.
I do. We were just talking about some Muppet Christmas movies.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love the Muppets Christmas movie. One of them actually particularly, which was Kermit the Frog, and I think I can't remember his name. The guy who played It was Scrooge. I think it was one of
Yeah.
them was called Scrooge. Yeah, that one was one of my favorites as a not as a Muppet fan, but like as a Christmas movie, it's definitely one up there for me.
Oh yeah, that's it's a classic. It's definitely a classic. And it's kind of the movie that brought the Muppets back. Because after Jim Henson died, they kind of was questioned like, can the Muppets survive without their creator? And that kind of was the movie that kind of put the stamp on it and said, yes, they can.
Was that the first movie they released after he died?
Yeah, and it was 2 years later, 1992, and he died in 1990. So it was kind of like the first. They did that one special, the Muppets Celebrate Jim Henson, where Steve Whitmire popped in at the very, very end as Kermit and just said, "Oh, what a good song! You guys did a good job." But Kermit hadn't been there the whole show up till that point. So that kind of was Steve Whitmire's debut as Kermit for the masses. Like that was people really getting to see him play Kermit for the first time.
Yeah. Who voiced Kermit on the Muppet Babies? Because that would have been still in production at the time, right?
Yes, I'm not sure. I think it was Dave Cool. It was definitely Dave Coulier towards the end of the run, but I don't think he did it the whole time. Let me look. But yeah, Dave Coulier definitely was doing it by the end of the run.
Wow, I forgot about that.
And as soon as you look up Muppet Babies, the reboot shows up first. So.
Oh, okay.
It was Frank. Well, you know what? No,
Frank Welker.
It was Frank Welker.
Okay. We know him.
Well, wait a minute. I know. I don't even see Dave. Oh, Dave Coulier. No, Dave Coulier was never Kermit. Okay, my mistake. Dave Coulier was Animal, Bunsen, Bean Bunny, Janice. But no, he was not. Frank Welker was Kermit.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Well, he gets around.
Yes, he does. Oh boy. Hey, Strange Marvel Theories. I don't mind answering this, but we did kind of want to talk Christmas. Strange Marvel Theories asked, "What's my opinion of the '80s movie Arthur?" I think of it as a comedy classic. I love Arthur. I love that movie. In fact, I don't know if Lisa's still here, but Lisa Soares lives in Rhode Island, and I went to visit her recently, and I was quoting Arthur. Because Dudley Moore in Arthur is talking about he has a hooker in a restaurant and he's trying to pass the hooker off as a princess. And he says, "Oh yeah, she runs a very small country. It's so tiny. Rhode Island beats the crap out of it."
Yeah, Arthur's a great film.
Yeah. There you go. So what other Christmas movies do we love?
Well, I'll tell you my favorite Christmas movie.
Okay.
Go on.
There's only one Christmas movie in my top 50 of all time. I think everybody has probably seen this movie. But Home Alone is my all-time favorite Christmas movie.
Okay.
You stole my pick.
Home Alone is always my go-to when people try to tell me, and I you guys missed it. I went on a whole speech about how if someone tries to tell you, somebody asked me in the chat if Die Hard's a Christmas movie. And I said, if someone tries to tell you that something you love at Christmas time doesn't count as a Christmas movie, they're gatekeeping, because nobody can tell you how to celebrate your holiday. If you want to watch Die Hard at Christmas, that you can do that. If you don't want to, you don't have to.
Yeah.
But whenever people say to me, well, Die Hard's not a Christmas movie because it could have taken place any time of the year, it didn't have to be set at Christmas, my go-to is always, well, what about Home Alone? Because they could have left him home alone while they were going on summer vacation. You could have done that movie at any time of year too. So that can't be your litmus test. Does it have to be set at Christmas? Because I can pick apart many, many Christmas movies and say, well, it didn't have to be at Christmas. It just happened to be, but you can do that with so many of them. And
you can do it with It's a Wonderful Life. I mean, he could have,
right,
not been around for any day of the week, like but it happened to be at Christmas.
Yeah.
There's unless Santa Claus himself is involved, like Miracle on 34th Street. Okay, that you couldn't set really anywhere else. But yeah, I mean, does it? Yeah, does it really matter? I've always thought Die Hard was a Christmas movie. I thought that's such a
It
silly
is.
argument to me.
Yeah. Dante says Christmas Eve on Sesame Street. I love it. I watch
Oh,
it
that's a
every year.
classic. That's
Every
that's the
year.
one. That's the last thing with Mr. Hooper, right?
Yeah,
Not the
well,
last thing, but
I
the
don't
last
think
special at least.
yeah, it's the one where it's the one where Mr. Hooper does the gift of the Magi and
Yeah,
gives
with the paper clips.
Bert and Ernie the paper clips. And yeah, I
Yep,
love that.
love that. That's where they saying "Keep Christmas with You," right?
Well, they've sang it since. Like I think there's like some
Okay.
Elmo Christmas specials. Like it's now become sort of your staple Sesame Street Christmas song. I always said he passed away last year, but I always said that if I ever met Bob from Sesame Street,
Yeah.
as stupid as it sounds, I would want to sing "Keep Christmas with You" with him. I would have to ask him, "Can I sing this with you? Can we sing this together?" I don't know why, but that's the one thing. Like I always thought, if I met him, I would have to ask him if he would sing that with me.
Well, I mean, that was such a staple special for us. I mean, that probably came out when we were like 4 or something, right? Isn't that like 81, 82 or something?
78.
Oh, is it that old? Okay. Well, then, I mean, almost our entire lives, we watched it growing up then. Because I remember watching it every year.
Hang on, I'll blow your mind with a little bit of trivia. Give me a second here. Just got to reach my shelf. Ugh. Oh, come on.
Yeah, I'm way younger than you guys. I'm 32, but so like my Christmas movies are like Home Alone. I would have to even say even like the Batman Returns film is a Christmas film for me as well.
Yeah, that definitely takes place at Christmas.
All right, here you go. 1978, PBS airs Christmas Eve on Sesame Street. That same exact year, within like a week of each other, CBS airs a very special Sesame Street Christmas. There were 2 Sesame Street Christmas specials that came out in the same year. One for PBS, one for CBS. And whereas this one is considered a true classic, this is considered to be one of the worst Muppet holiday specials of all time. Hey, there's Michael Jackson. There's Michael Jackson's in this.
Wow. Well, we love Michael Jackson. Is it terrible?
It's pretty terrible. First of all, CBS licensed these characters from PBS. So it was being made by some like CBS primetime variety show writers. It wasn't being written by the Sesame Street writers. They didn't want to use the whole cast. So only a couple of the Sesame Street cast members even appear in this.
Yeah.
And the main star of the special is not any of the Sesame Street characters. It is Leslie Uggams, the blind woman from Deadpool.
Of course.
The blind woman from Deadpool is the star of this.
Okay, so when you're saying this, what I think of, like 1978 was like the height of the primetime variety show. So I'm sure CBS had all their variety writers from Van Dyke and Company and the Captain and Tennille Show and Pink Lady and Jeff and all of these horrible 70s variety shows writing, for this Sesame Street special. I've never heard of it, but that is right in that era.
Oh yeah, it's hey, look, it's not great, but I know you, Dan. I know you. I wouldn't make this recommendation for everybody watching, but I would make this recommendation for Dan.
Yeah, I'm curious for sure.
Check on Amazon if you can get this at a decent price. It's worth a watch.
Okay.
I'm proud to have this in my collection,
Wow.
but this is one that I skip most years. Most years I do not revisit this one.
As a Michael Jackson fan, I'm surprised I don't even know about it.
It's not okay. Let's see. The original primetime Emmy nominated special. Emmy nominated. Guess what it was up against in the Emmys?
This real Sesame Street.
They competed against each other in the Emmys that year. But it's starring Michael Jackson, Henry Fonda, Anne Murray, Dick Smothers, Ethel Merman, Leslie Uggams, and Imogene Coca.
Okay.
So There you go. Very
Wow.
very special Sesame Street Christmas.
Yeah, that is very special. So all right, so if you're 32, I bet you another Christmas movie that was in your childhood was the Santa Claus movie with Tim Allen, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Because when I think of like 90s Christmas, I think of Home Alone and I think of the Santa Claus for sure.
Yes. Home Alone. What's that film with the Turbo Man? Jingle All the Way.
Oh, Jingle All the Way. Yeah, of course.
Jingle
That's
all the
another one.
way.
You
Jingle
make
all
me
the
laugh.
way.
You make me laugh. Well, yeah, Jingle
Turbo
All the Way.
time with the Rock'em Sock'em jetpack.
Oh, and I know this one will get. I would say even put this on as a Christmas movie, Shazam.
Shazam's. I love Shazam. I absolutely love Shazam. But
As
you
a
know what?
Christmas film.
And as someone who lives in the Philadelphia region, I'm incredibly sad that the Philadelphia holiday festival is not a real thing, because I would love to go to Philadelphia.
Yeah, that would have been cool. I forgot that took place around Christmas.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, I forgot that. That is a great movie.
The one thing I find funny about Shazam is if you watch Shazam, it starts with the flashback, like Billy as a little kid. Well, no, we start with the villain, right? We start with the villain and we see how his family, what happened to his family, and it happens at Christmas time. Then we cut to Billy and how he gets left by his mother, and that's obviously several years later because he's much younger than Mark Strong's character, and that happens at Christmas time at the Philadelphia Festival. And then we cut to our present where they all come together and it's Christmas time, and I'm like, does everything happens to these guys at Christmas? Like every point in their lives, it's always Christmas.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, that is, family time is Christmas, I guess. So that sort of makes sense. But yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I love that movie though.
What's the first Christmas movie you remember seeing in a theater?
I think it's Santa Claus. I think
Is
it's
it Santa Claus?
I
Okay.
think it's Santa Claus the movie. Maybe.
Yeah.
I didn't go to cinemas at Christmas.
We had a tradition, and this actually, my movie that I first saw in the theater predates this, but for about 5 or 6 years in the 90s, we had a tradition. Christmas Eve, we would go to a movie as a family. So we saw Home Alone, we saw The Muppet Christmas Carol, we saw Mrs. Doubtfire, we saw, that my family went to see Hook. I was sick, so I didn't see that one, but that was one. I think one of maybe the first Toy Story. But the first movie I remember seeing in a theater, a Christmas movie, is Scrooged with Bill Murray.
I have a very distinct memory of seeing Scrooged in the theater. A very distinct memory. And Dan, you will know the theater. I saw Scrooged at the McDade Mall.
Oh, yeah, the old McDade movie theater. Okay.
And I will never forget. I was a little bit. What am I? 2 years older than you? 1 year older than you? I'm 1 year older than you.
Yeah.
Right?
I believe so. And this came out in 88. So yeah,
88.
You would have been maybe 12
grade
or 13.
School. Yeah, grade school. And I remember sitting in the theater watching Scrooged, and a beer bottle whizzed past my head.
What?
Somebody was drinking in the theater, threw their beer bottle, and it whizzed right past. Didn't hit me, but I just got missed by a beer bottle flying past me.
Who's throwing, like, it's, all right, you're gonna sneak in beer and drink it, that's lame, but then you throw the beer bottle in the middle of the theater. That's just,
it fits that it was at McDade, right? Like that just fits.
Yeah, I guess that explains it. That's where we saw The Naked Gun 33 1/3.
Oh, I'll never forget that.
But
Andy got way too excited.
I saw Scrooged at the, I want to say the Marple AMC. Must have been the first year it was in business or something.
The Marple AMC or the AMC Marple 10.
Yeah.
I
When did that
actually
go
can
up?
play it. It's 1990. Home Alone was one
Okay,
of the
so
first
I
movies they showed
so I
there.
must not have seen it there then.
Might have been Springfield Mall. Springfield Mall used to have
It-
the AMC twin there.
Yeah, it might have been. Or it might have been one of the Erics.
Hmm.
I remember I saw it with Matt Shipley. That's all I got. But
I'm sorry, Taladia. When Dan and I get together, we start
No,
we
it's
start
fine. No, it's very
reminiscing about
interesting.
high school.
Very interesting, Joe. But it's already gone past 4:30 in the morning here, so I've got to
Oh
head
yeah.
out. So I
oh
do want.
wow,
Yeah, I'm very dedicated to I stayed up for the whole stream for this Game Award thing, and then I was just like, gotta do a bit of editing and come in. I saw you were live. I was like, why not show my face, show some appreciation to Joe, come into
I appreciate it.
Joe's stream, and at least show my face, knowing that I'm still here. So
Well, it's
but it was
good
lovely to
seeing you.
meet you.
yeah, it's great to meet you too, Dan and Joe. Hopefully, I'll see you over the weekend
All
when
right.
Max is back.
Yes. Perp and I have some. I have a watch party planned for the near future. So if you can make it, it would be great. We're going to watch the truly. Oh, Dan, here's a blast from the past. We were going to do a watch party for the truly terrible 1978 Christmas special, Rich Little's Christmas Carol.
Oh God,
What?
I don't remember that, but I know who Rich Little is. I'm sure it's
Dan, if you're available, you're more than welcome to join the watch party. It's a trip, I tell you. And
I'm sure. I told you. I mean, like 78, 77, 78 was the height of the horrible variety show. So that
Wow.
I'm sure it's god awful.
Oh, and yes, before I got Anthony's right, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone or Sorcerer's Stone is a Christmas film too. So I'll put that on the list. So
yeah,
on that note, I'm off
sounds
to
right.
bed. Take care, everyone.
good
Dan,
seeing you.
look after
Thanks.
Bye.
yourself.
Good night.
All right, good night, guys.
Yeah, the Rich Little Christmas Carol is the story of a Christmas Carol told by Rich Little in
Oh,
a
God.
one man show.
I was
in
going to
which
say he must do all of the impressions of everybody.
he plays all the characters and he plays each one as a celebrity. He plays Scrooge as W.C. Fields. Bob Cratchit is Paul Lynn. Mrs. Cratchit is Edith Bunker.
Okay.
One of the Ghosts of Christmas is it the Ghost of Christmas Past is Richard Nixon.
Dear
Like
God.
all of his because he only he had such a small pool. Oh, nephew Fred, his Scrooge's nephew Fred, Johnny Carson.
Of course.
So,
SNL did a great bit. This is maybe going back 10 years or something, but I'll watch it every so often on YouTube. It's a game show parody of like a 70s game show called Charades, and basically Julia Louis-Dreyfus was the host, and basically they just make the contestants do like these things that make them look like they're doing dirty things. But Daryl Hammond was doing a Rich Little impression as one of the panelists, and he just kept trotting out these horrible, irritating impressions, and the game show host kept saying like, "Okay, like wrap it up, we got to move on." And that's always what I think of with Rich Little, just irritating everyone all day with his impressions.
and that's the thing too, is even when he was a big star, even when he was now nobody gives a crap about Rich Little, but when
Sure.
when he was actually a legitimate star who could get work, he wasn't good then. His impressions,
He was a hack then.
Oh, it's amazing. Now, if you're around when we do the Rich Little Christmas, it's right here on YouTube. You can find Rich Little's
Okay.
Christmas Carol.
That's
It's complete.
hilarious.
When I watched it last year for the first time in like 30 years, and it just blew me away how bad it was, and how I still remembered all the jokes from when I was a kid. Because HBO showed it every year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we didn't have HBO, so I had to stick with what was on TV all the time. But with that in mind, since Rich Little was a Christmas Carol version, obviously we talked about the Muppets. Other than the Muppets, what is your favorite version of Christmas Carol?
I'll tell you, my answer is not too popular, I think. I think a lot of people consider this to be a terrible version, actually. I think this one kind of gets unfairly crapped upon. But
Ooh, I wonder if it's mine too then.
Albert Finney, the musical
Oh, okay.
Scrooge. This is
Gotcha.
this is the one. Have you ever seen this?
I actually have not. My dad was always into what was the 50s one? Was that Alistair Cook?
Alistair Sim.
Alistair Sim.
That is considered by
Yeah.
like most film critics to be the definitive
That's
Scrooge.
yeah, that's my dad's favorite. So I that was always on in my house growing up. But the Sim version, the Christmas or the musical version, I have not seen.
Jeff called me Crazy Pete. Hey Jeff, how you doing? By the way, Mick and me says you remind him from the kid from Polar Express. I'm not
You know, I've actually heard that before. And the kids on Polar Express all look so creepy because of the
Oh, yeah.
very rudimentary CGI. But I take that as a compliment.
They did that, so that the gag about that in the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers movie.
Oh my god!
Where
Yes.
the one
The poor
one
CGI
character, he's like,
effects.
I can't tell if you're looking at me or not.
I'll tell you a version I like. Speaking of Robert Zemeckis, I think the Jim Carrey version's pretty good.
I've never seen it.
Really? Okay, that's a bit polarizing as well. But I that was kind of the movie that shut down that whole studio because it was so expensive to make and didn't really do much at the box office. But I actually think it is quite a frightening version of A Christmas Carol. They did a really good job with it. But look, for a sentimental favorite, I've always loved the Mickey Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
That was on, since like I said, we didn't have HBO, so we just watched, whatever that was on the networks, and they would run that on I don't know what channel it was, maybe ABC. But every year we watched the Mickey Christmas Carol, and that was a sentimental favorite for me.
This one, the Albert Finney version, this was a musical, and this one has like a real. I think the kids use the word banger, a real banger of a musical number.
It's a real banger.
Isn't that what the kids say?
They do. Yes, they do.
At the end, when the ghost of Christmas yet to come shows him his future, and he's dead. He doesn't realize that he's dead. He doesn't, but everybody is standing there talking about the wonderful thing Scrooge did and cheering Scrooge on for the wonderful thing he did. And the wonderful thing he did was he died, but he doesn't know that. And they all start parading down the street singing like this hell of a musical number. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's the nicest thing that anyone's ever done for me. And Scrooge is dancing with them because he thinks they're celebrating him. He doesn't know. Yeah, I love that.
Wow, that's intense.
But you gave me a segue. You gave me a segue because you mentioned the Jim Carrey version of Scrooge. And I'm sure because you and I have known each other for a long time, so I'm sure you've heard me rant multiple times over the years about how much I despise Jim Carrey's version of the Grinch.
Yeah.
I saw that was like returning to theaters for its anniversary, and I'm just like, oh my god, can't we just forget this happened?
You know what? I actually really like the Jim Carrey Grinch. I know it also has a lot of mixed response from people, and the people that do not like it, like yourself, absolutely think it is one of the worst things that they've seen. I actually really like it, but look, I'm a huge Jim Carrey fan. There's not a lot that he's done that I have not liked.
Well, I don't think the problem's Jim Carrey. Like I don't have an issue with Jim Carrey. My issue is what they did to the Grinch story. I keep saying they altered the story so much because obviously you need to expand the story. It's a short story. You need to expand it to fill a 90-minute runtime. But by turning the Who's into the people that chased him out of town, I feel like they gutted the whole point of the story, because the point of the story was like The Who's understood what Christmas was about. They got it. They understood it didn't come with boxes and tags, and he could steal their Christmas and they're still going to join hands and sing Bahu Dore on Christmas morning. And then when he has his heart grow and he comes and says, I'm sorry, and returns the presents, they're like, no, it's cool. Come on in. You're welcome. Carve our roast beast. And that one, it was like, well, you kind of undercut that by having them be the ones who chased him out in the first place. I really like this new one with Benedict Cumberbatch. I'm a huge fan of this.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
To me, the best is still Boris Karloff, the original Boris Karloff version, but I really did like this one a hell of a lot. But yeah, now my issue isn't with Jim Carrey. I think he was fine, and the makeup was great.
Yeah, I thought he did a great job. I think that is usually the complaint that people have is that the backstory was so bastardized. But we had a lot of the specials. The original Grinch was only a 30-minute special. We had that.
Yeah.
We had Charlie Brown Christmas, of course. The Garfield Christmas, which I remember the Garfield Halloween more, but I know there was a Garfield Christmas.
Christmas in Pac-Land or Pac-Man.
Yes, Christmas in Pac-Land. I was going to say Magoo's Christmas as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Magoo. And then the Mickey Christmas, of course. I think that's only an hour-long special. Yeah. But yeah, those were perennials. Well, and then the claymation ones, which I actually did not see A Year Without a Santa Claus until like 2 years ago. That's not one for whatever reason that we watched growing up. So, and I still haven't seen Rudolph. Didn't they do 3? They did Rudolph, Frosty, and The Year Without a Santa Claus.
Well, they did more than that. They did Rudolph. Hang on, I have the whole box set.
Oh, you have the Rankin Bass box set?
I have the complete Rankin Bass collection. But
wow.
Before, wait, this isn't it. This is the 4Ks. The 4Ks don't have everything. The Blu-rays have everything. Here it is. Okay. Before I get to that, I gotta say Conor McGregor is absolutely right. The worst Grinch movie was The Mean One last year. I saw The Mean One in the theater. It was horrible.
Wait, what is this? I don't know it.
Remember last year, everybody was like, oh, they're making a Winnie the Pooh horror movie, Pooh, Blood and Honey. Oh, it's so funny. It's Winnie the Pooh. Well, some cheapo company was like, oh, well, we'll top that. We'll do the Grinch. And they made a horror movie with the Grinch, but obviously they couldn't use the name of the Grinch, so they called it The Mean One. And they only refer to him as The Mean One. It's the Grinch. He looks just like Jim Carrey. Like it's the same makeup job as Jim Carrey. And the main character is Cindy You Know Who.
Wow.
That's
bad.
It is so bad. They don't even use it's a horror movie. And they don't even use real blood. They use CGI blood. So like the Mean One will kill somebody and you'll just see a flash of cartoon blood fly out. And you'll be like, well, that was convincing.
Wait a second. You saw this in theaters?
I went and saw it in the theater. Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Somewhere here on YouTube, you can find my review of it.
I'll have to check that out. My God, that sounds horrible.
All right. Here's the complete Rankin Bass collection.
I have seen that. Okay.
The ones that were done in the Animagic style stop motion were Rudolph, Little Drummer Boy.
Oh, yeah.
Santa Claus is Coming to Town, Year Without a Santa Claus, The First Christmas, Rudolph's Shiny New Year, Little Drummer Boy Book 2, Nestor the Long-Eared Christmas Donkey, Rudolph and Frosty's Christmas in July, Jack Frost, Pinocchio's Christmas. And do you know who did the voice of Pinocchio in Pinocchio's Christmas? You'll never get it. You'll never get it.
Okay. My guess was going to be Albert Brooks.
The kid from Star Stuff.
Oh, really? Chris, whatever his name was?
Yeah, the kid from Star Stuff was the voice of Pinocchio's Christmas.
All right. Well, now I want to get that.
The Leprechaun's Christmas Gold and The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus. That's all the
Wow. All right. So I've only even maybe heard of 4 or 5 of those. And I've only seen, I think, 2.
We just watched. We bought this. This just came out this year. The
Okay.
Blu-ray collection, and we were like, and this is kind of a really cool collection because the rights to these were split. Universal owned everything that was made like prior to the 1970s,
Okay.
and Warner Brothers owned everything that was made like after that date. So this set is actually a collaboration from Universal and Warner Brothers,
Wow.
and it's the first time they've ever gotten together and said, okay, well, because like Frosty the Snowman was owned by Universal, and the sequel, Frosty's Winter Wonderland, where Frosty gets married and gets a wife, that was owned by Warner Brothers. You couldn't get these on the same set prior
No
to now.
kidding.
But yeah, so we got this, and Christine and I were like, let's watch one we've never seen before. And the first one we put in was the Leprechaun's Christmas Gold. And it's wild. You know how Rankin Bass like to take a song like with Frosty the Snowman, Rudolph.
Yeah.
They like to build their special around a song. The Leprechaun's Christmas Gold was built around the song Christmas in Killarney.
Nope. Never heard of it.
It's Christmas in Killarney with all of the folks, you know. You never heard that?
No, I don't think I know that one.
It's an old Bing Crosby song, but that's
Okay.
what they built the.
Wow. That's intense.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, the Rankin Bass. We were not a Rankin Bass house, I guess.
I'm wondering if I can find an image of the mean one. Let's see.
That stuff, you know, that Winnie the Pooh movie, I'm never gonna watch that either. I mean, that's just so stupid.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Let's see. I'll share my screen.
Yeah, let's see this thing.
There he is.
Wow. Yeah, they're definitely going for something there, huh?
Yeah, it's truly terrible.
Wow. Yeah, do you pay money for this, or this was one of their mystery movie Mondays or something?
Well, I got Regal Unlimited, so I don't pay for anything.
Oh, that's right.
I pay
You're
my
like me,
monthly
you don't
fee.
pay for anything.
Yeah, I pay my monthly fee, and then I'll go see whatever.
Okay,
so
that's fair then. Jeez, that's horrible.
I'll give you a good one. Here's one from the past few
Okay.
years that I always want to shout from the rooftops for people to watch this one because I don't think it gets enough recognition. This is streaming now on Shudder. You can watch this on Shudder if you have Shudder. A couple years ago, it was streaming on Prime. I don't know if it's still streaming on Prime, but this is a musical zombie Christmas movie called Anna and the Apocalypse.
I have heard of that. I don't know if I realized it was a Christmas movie, but I've heard of that.
It is really good. It is really good, especially if you like musicals. It's got some just killer musical numbers in it, and it's funny. It's a zombie movie, but you know, if you're not into horror movies, my wife is not into horror movies, and she liked this, so that should tell you something.
Okay.
It's a zom-com set at Christmas with some musical numbers, and it's a lot of fun.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other than Spirited, which we mentioned. I'm trying to think of in the last maybe 4 or 5 years if there's been any new Christmas movies that are really something to repeat view. I saw It's a Wonderful Knife. Speaking of Shudder, that's up on Shudder right now.
Yeah, I didn't like it. Did you? What did you think?
It was okay. I think I gave it a C or a C plus. I thought it was all right.
I was like, it's billed as a comedy, and obviously it stars Justin Long and Joel McHale.
Yeah,
but I didn't think it was funny.
Well, and the one of the worst parts for me, acting wise, was Joel McHale doing these emotional scenes. I just didn't quite buy that. But yeah, I thought it was okay. Most new Christmas movies go right to streamers, so I'm trying to think of in theaters what other Christmas movies are out there. This year, I think that might be the only one that went to theaters.
I'm looking at my shelf, seeing what I got sitting on my shelf.
I'll tell you a great one from the '90s that doesn't get a lot of play, um, and now it definitely wouldn't get a lot of play because of one of the stars. But I always liked The Ref with Dennis Leary, Kevin Spacey,
Oh,
J.K. Simmons, I believe, is in it.
I was going to say I didn't remember Kevin Spacey was in. I've never seen The Ref.
Yeah,
And
he's.
I
Oh man,
I
mean
knew Dennis
that.
Leary. Sandra Bullock's in it, right?
No, I don't.
Oh,
No, I don't think Sandra Bullock's in it.
oh.
But Kevin Spacey's wife is Judy Davis. I forget who plays the kid, but Christine Baranski, I think, is in it.
You know what? You know what the problem with you know what kills me about Kevin Spacey? Kevin
Tell me.
Spacey, and this is like it would be so easy. It would be so easy if these guys sucked. Like if they were like who's just a terrible star nobody likes. If I can't I'm blanking. I'm blanking.
Yeah.
Not that he's terrible. He's not terrible, but I don't think anyone would care too much if Tom Arnold did something unspeakable and
Okay.
we were like, we're not going to watch the Stupids anymore. I don't think anyone would lose too much sleep.
Stupids. Yeah.
But it's the fact that a guy like Kevin Spacey was so good. He was so good, and he was in so many great movies.
Top of his craft. I mean, he was. Yeah.
And I loved American Beauty. And I haven't been able to revisit American Beauty since all this, with Kevin Spacey.
Really?
I haven't been able to watch it.
Yeah.
He's icky, He's
I don't know. I really try hard to separate art from the artist. I mean, you mentioned Daddy's Home 2. Mel Gibson for me actually is one that's a little hard to watch sometimes.
See, I can forgive Mel Gibson because Mel Gibson had a run where he was bad. I mean, he was really bad. But at that time, people who knew him, people like Whoopi Goldberg, who were friends with him and knew him, came out and vouched for him and said, hey, this isn't the guy I know. This is not the guy I know. And then he came out and apologized. So I kind of think he was having something of a mental breakdown at that time.
Yeah, he wasn't in a good place, that's for sure.
And we haven't heard anything from him since. It was like, I mean, like he does movies now, but again, he apologized. Yeah. He hasn't had any problematic behavior in well over a decade. It seemed like if you look at Mel Gibson's whole career, you have this long stretch where everybody liked him and there's not a problem. Then this span of a couple of years where he seemed to lose it. And then he seemed to get it back again. So I'm like, this is a blip on the radar. Whereas with a guy like Spacey or a guy like Cosby, we hear about the shit that they've been doing for like 30, 40 years that just wasn't being reported.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. And Gibson was in actually a pretty popular recent Christmas movie. Did you see Fat Man?
I liked Fat Man. Fat Man was pretty good.
I didn't think it was that great, but that gets a lot of love from people.
You said, has there been anything in the last couple of years? You mentioning Fat Man triggered Violent Night. Last year we got Violent Night with David Harbour. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's a good point. That was a very, very fun Christmas movie. That was definitely like that the Christmas action comedy or horror comedy or whatever that you want to see. Yeah, I enjoyed Violent Night.
All right, I haven't watched this yet. I have not watched this yet, but we just were talking about Joel McHale. I bet you've seen this. I picked this up at the Dollar Tree.
I see a lot of Joel McHale things.
Have you seen Merry Friggin' Christmas? Joel McHale and Robin Williams. Because I've never watched this. I don't know if it's good or not. I think
I have not seen that. I think I only realized it existed after Robin Williams died.
I gotta watch this year. It's been sitting on the shelf
let me know.
For a couple years now. I got it at Dollar Tree, and I've never bothered to watch it. It's got Lauren Graham and Clark Duke in it. Wendy McLennan Covey.
I like.
Wendy McLennan Covey's in here. Tim Heidecker. Candice Bergen.
Okay. Star-studded cast.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm surprised. Wow. And Lauren Graham, I'm surprised I haven't seen it then. I love her as well. She was in, Bad Santa. There's a pretty good Christmas movie.
Bad Santa. Yeah. People really hate the second one. Like people like despise the second one.
Yeah. Did you see the second one? It's
I
really not
did.
good.
I did.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I don't
Okay.
love it either. I just don't care about it. Like, I mean, it was one of those
Yeah.
movies where it's like I watched it and I'm like, okay, that was a movie I saw, but
Well, it's
it
such a
didn't make
step
me
down
angry.
from the first one. I feel like the first one's so beloved, um, and it's just such a huge step down from that. I don't remember what grade I gave it, but yeah, I remember just really not being impressed with it.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else do we got. We've talked about a bunch of my.
Uh,
Oh, here's one. You know me. I always gravitate to the 80s.
yeah.
This is one when Christine and I first met. We bonded over this one. He-Man, She-Ra, Christmas.
I did not know that existed. That was
You
a
you
special,
didn't
I assume.
you didn't
No,
know
I did
about this
not.
one? Oh
I
my
did
lord!
not know about, or if I did, it was I forgot, and
Well,
it's
you are in
distant
luck
memory.
because you could watch this on Tubi. This is on
Oh, I
Tubi.
do
You
love
could,
a good Tubi.
yeah, there you go.
Love a good
Uh,
Tubi. Wow. Okay. The He-Man
Skele-
She-Ra Christmas.
Skeletor learns the true meaning of Christmas in this.
Yeah,
This is
and then I'm
this
sure
is
he
the
forgets.
special. This
I'm
is the
sure he forgets
special
the
where
next second.
Skeletor says the immortal line. I don't like to feel good. I like to feel evil.
That's from that special.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. If I ever knew that existed, I have long forgotten.
So I don't know. I'm looking at my
Hey.
shelf. Is there anything we didn't talk about that? Oh,
Well,
I
what are
can
your
give you-
thoughts on A Christmas Story? That's 80s, and
I was
people seem
just
to love Christmas Story.
I was just gonna bring up A Christmas Story because it's sitting on my shelf there. I don't love that.
I don't either. I admit I've only given it a chance once, but I found Ralphie very annoying. And what's funny is I actually did not mind the sequel they did last year. I thought that was actually okay, but the original movie I find very annoying, and maybe it's the fan base. It's a movie that I think is okay. It's fine, but people are rabid for that movie, and I don't see it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I remember when it first came out, it bombed at the box office. Nobody
Yeah,
watched that
huge
movie.
stinker.
And it found its audience through television, through VHS,
Hmm.
and I wanted to see it as a kid because I remember I liked Messy Marvin.
Okay.
Remember the Messy Peter Billingsley started with as Messy Marvin in the Hershey's commercials. That's another thing. In my
Okay.
Philly Captain video where we were at the National Treasure Museum, I made a reference to he started off as Messy Marvin in the Nestle Quick commercials. I was wrong. It wasn't Nestle
Oof,
Quick. It was Hershey's.
Hershey.
So I wanted to see it. My parents didn't take me. It was only out like a week, I think. It bombed.
Yeah.
And then I watched it on video or it came on cable or something. And I remember watching it over and over as a kid because like as a kid, that's kind of what you did. If you had a movie on tape, you just watched it over and over.
Yeah.
But I never found it all that funny. And then like I got older and everybody just kept, it was like a snowball effect. People went crazy for it. And I was like, I don't really like this. I don't hate it either. I just don't really like it.
Yeah. I don't quite get the obsession with it. I think there's way better Christmas movies out there. Now we didn't have cable except for a couple of years. So I never saw it until a few years ago, until it was already, oh, this is the greatest Christmas movie of all time. So I wonder if I had seen it as a kid, maybe would I feel differently? I don't know. But for us, our go-to Christmas movies were the original Miracle on 34th. That was a classic in my house. The Mickey Christmas, the Sesame Street Christmas. I mean, those are the ones we had on video. So that's what I remember watching the most in terms of Christmas movies. It's a Wonderful Life I didn't even see really until maybe 10 or so years ago.
Do you know what I watched every Christmas as a kid? And
Tell
you
me.
kind of said the magic words that triggered it. Because it's what we had on tape. That's what you said. And
Yeah.
my aunt taped The Grinch off of television.
Okay.
She just left the tape running, said, "Oh, The Grinch is on tonight," left the tape running, gave us the tape. So for years, we had this videotape that had The Grinch on it. But after The Grinch,
Was it like Dallas or something?
the tape kept running. It was the episode of Silver Spoons, where it was the Christmas episode, and there was a family living in a cave because they
I
had
remember
lost
that.
everything. And
Yeah.
every Christmas, we would watch this one episode of Silver Spoons because it just happened to be on the tape following The Grinch.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Boy, I mean, well, and your favorite Christmas TV episodes, that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, that's funny, right? Because you just would tape what was on and whatever. I'm sure if you found that tape today, there'd probably be some really great early 80s commercials on there too.
Oddly enough, I have some. Hang on a second. Let me take a look here real quick. I have some 80s Christmas TV episodes actually stored to my desktop. Like I could pull some up right
Oh,
now if I
wow.
wanted to. I have what are they under? They under movies. Finding them's the trick.
Yeah.
But I've got like the Alf Special Christmas. Do you remember Alf Special Christmas?
I don't. Was that just a regular episode?
Oh my lord.
Or was it an actual special?
It was a regular season 2 episode, but they tried to play it as a special. Like they didn't do the
Okay.
usual intro. Like the title
Okay,
actually
gotcha.
was Alf's Special Christmas. That was actually the
Okay.
title. And it's the most depressing Christmas show you'd ever want to see. It's an hour-long special.
Really?
Let me give you the premise.
Yeah.
I'm
Is
going
that
to
the
give
one
you
where the Yeah, okay, tell me.
the Tanners rent a cabin in the woods for Christmas,
Okay.
and they take Alf with them. They go up to this cabin in the woods to spend the holidays up in the woods, and the man who rented them the cabin likes to dress up as Santa Claus and take things to the local hospital and play Santa and give gifts to the kids.
Okay.
So
Does he think Alf is a toy? Is that what it was?
Alf ends up on his cart as a stuffed toy and
Okay,
is
I remember this.
gifted to a girl who is dying of cancer. So,
I remember this.
early on, we are introduced to a girl who is dying,
Yeah.
and she befriends Alf. But the man who likes to dress up like Santa Claus also, the Tanners keep mentioning how he isn't himself this year. He's not quite the same. Something's different about him. Well, his wife recently died.
Dear
and
God.
The episode ends with Alf is back in his truck and he goes to a bridge and he's about to throw himself off a bridge and commit suicide.
My
And
God.
Alf convinces him not to kill himself. We have a dying girl. We have a suicidal man. Oh, and Alf delivers a baby too.
I remember this very, very vaguely when you said about the girl when he was the toy for the girl. I remember that part.
Molly
boy,
Hagan from the show Herman's Head gives birth, and Alf delivers her baby.
Oh, I love her. Boy, is it any wonder that Gen X is just these cynical, like with that? This was a kids program. Like, oh my God. Yeah, that's not your joyous Christmas episode.
We should have a watch party for that. My God.
God, that sounds horrible. Whew. I might have to watch that one. I have the Elf box set, so I'm sure it's on there.
All right, hang on a second here.
Boy, oh
see
boy,
if I
that's rough.
Yeah, it's something all right.
Yeah, it's sure something.
I've also got on this computer the What's Happening episode with the guy who goes right, gotcha.
Right, gotcha. Is that a Christmas episode?
Oh yeah, he robbed them at Christmas time. He was dressed like Santa.
That's right. Oh man, that was a toughie. Well, they had no money anyway, of course, so
Yep.
that's a disaster. Okay, that's a good one.
I want to see if I can find this. Somewhere I have the promo here. I don't know what your time frame is. Do you have to get going or anything?
I mean, at some point, I guess.
I noticed the chat stopped talking. I think we literally scared everybody away. I think
Everybody's gone.
Everyone's like, it's enough of this shit.
Speaking of what's happening, not that he was involved, but how about Norman Lear?
Oh my Lord, Norman Lear. I keep saying, there's a saying that I mean, let's try to keep this, I guess. Let's try to keep this non-political because I want to keep it entertaining for everyone. But if there's a phrase I hate in this world, it's I hate the word woke. I hate the word woke. I hate what it's turned into. Like I hate how it's become this scapegoat, this like phantom scapegoat where people just are going to blame everything on quote unquote wokeness.
It's very obnoxious.
Right. And there's a phrase that you hear often, and that phrase is get woke, go broke. Yeah. And every time I hear that, I point out that is not accurate. That is not true. If you get woke, you do not go broke. And the perfect example of that is Norman Lear, who, if you take a look at that man's long career and everything he made from All in the Family to the Jeffersons, it was what we would call now woke.
Very much so.
And he was extremely successful. So no, if you get woke, you will not go broke. That is not.
Yeah, I mean, he flew in the face of anything that was conventional at the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, real legend. And I didn't realize. I'm sure I knew this at some point, but he was involved with 227.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I just learned that yesterday. I don't know if he was one of the producers. I mean, it makes sense. It's Marla Gibbs' show. She was, one of the Jefferson stars. And it was on Saturday night NBC, where they already had The Facts of Life, which was one of his shows. So it makes sense he would have been involved. But yeah, I didn't realize that either.
All right, look at this. I have this is my a playlist I made.
This is all your TV, your Christmas TV shows?
We were having a Christmas in July party earlier this year, and I put together a playlist of old Christmas commercials and things.
Okay.
And I have this on there. How's the volume? Can we hear this?
I can hear it, yeah.
Allison, a 1 hour special. When the Tanners lose out, he makes some new friends to get back on. It's our special Christmas. Then, Philip Michael Thomas hosts an all-new Motown Merry Christmas with the Pointer Sisters.
Oh, yeah, baby.
And many more in Motown's Merry Christmas, a night of special Monday.
Wait, who was the host of that?
Wasn't it? It was the guy from Miami Vice, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's talk about an NBC staple of the 80s. Yeah, Miami Vice.
Here you go. Here's a good one.
Oh my God, is this for the Atari game? Oh my God. We had that game. And it was indeed the worst game. I mean, its reputation is correct.
The video game that lets you help E.T. get home just in time for Christmas.
Wow.
Happy holidays from Atari.
Yeah, I put together this whole playlist of.
That's legendary.
Oh, yeah, here's a good one.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the Secret Rules of the Perfect Holiday Gift, rated PG.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Dante says, "Don't forget to answer the last question above before you sign off." Let's see.
Oh, let's take a look.
I think he says, "Don't forget the Looney Tunes Christmas special from the '70s." I remember that one. That was
Yeah.
the one where where Bugs Bunny says, "It was the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was staring, not even a mouse." And then we cut to Speedy Gonzalez with a cup and a spoon, and he goes, "I'm a mouse, and I'm staring."
Yeah, Looney Tunes, always one of my favorites. I forgot about that. I mean, everybody had his, the Flintstones had their Christmas special.
Yeah,
Any cartoon that was popular had a Christmas special for sure.
yeah. There was a Christmas special for everything, man. It was
Yeah.
like I think He-Man takes place on another planet, and they found a way to do a Christmas special. It's like there's nothing stopping it.
That's very solid.
So here's my question. This is a question I posed at the beginning of the stream. I guess we should
Okay.
probably wind down. It's late at night. It's 1:30 in
Yeah.
the morning. But the question I posed at the beginning of the stream is: there are so many classic Christmas movies, Christmas shows, Christmas specials, and every year they're making more. How do you find the time? Like, how do you decide which ones I need to watch every year? How do you decide which ones I can skip that? Because for me, it's not easy balancing them all.
Yeah, I mean, the sad truth of my life as it is now is I rarely get to rewatch anything because I'm always trying to do all these reviews for new movies and new shows. That there are very few things I get to rewatch. I did watch Elf last week, or over Thanksgiving, I guess I should say. It was on at my brother's place, and so we watched Elf. And I imagine we'll probably watch something Christmas Eve when I'm over there. But there are very few movies or shows I really get to reindulge in every year. Like watching Groundhog Day used to be an annual tradition for me. I haven't even done that for a few years. So yeah, I mean, every so often I'll just pick one out. Like last year, I rewatched the Muppets Christmas Carol because it was the 30th anniversary or whatever. So I watched that. But yeah, I mean, it's almost impossible with so many new things coming out. Like, have you rewatched Spirited this year? I know
Not
you loved that so much last year.
Not yet. It's on the list. We want to do it. I also
Yeah.
want to show my daughter, because my daughter is now 16.
Yeah,
A lot of the movies that we felt maybe were inappropriate for her when she was younger. I kind of
Right.
want to show her Christmas Vacation and Scrooge this year, because she's never seen
yeah,
Christmas
Scrooge
Vacation or
is
Scrooge.
real solid. Well, and you are fortunate in that you are getting to sort of curate a list of movies to introduce to her. Whereas I
gotta
did that a few years
say-
ago when I was babysitting my nephew every couple months, and he would want me to bring movies. I would introduce him to the Jim Carrey collection and the Adam Sandler collection and the Jump Street movies and all of that. And that's always a fun reason to kind of do that. So yeah, I'm sure there'll be something on Christmas Eve that we'll watch. We're not a Christmas Story family, whether that's Home Alone, whether it's maybe it will be Scrooged.
I do love the fact that last year at Christmas time, my daughter Jackie said to me, and this will show you how screwed up of a family we are. we kind of decided, oh well, we can't show her Christmas Vacation or Scrooged yet. They might be a little inappropriate. But we showed her Die Hard like 3 years ago. so last Christmas, she says to me,
Okay.
can we watch Die Hard? And I was it like made my heart swell that like she said to me, can we watch Die Hard? I was like, yes, we can watch Die Hard. I got the Christmas sweater edition.
Oh, that's cool.
And
Very
then
cool.
this past year, a couple days before Thanksgiving, she said to me, are we going to watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles? And
Wow.
I'm like, she's getting an appreciation for the
That's
classics.
really cool. That's
So.
awesome.
It makes me happy.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's interesting. I mean, Scrooged and Christmas Vacation are only PG-13, right?
Yeah, I know. Well,
Is it too much sex?
Well, I mean, we got a stepfather to deal with.
Yeah.
It's
I'm trying to think. I mean, Scrooged I've seen so many times. I guess it definitely gets a little bit naughty, I guess. Yeah, it was 80s PG-13, so that means like soft R basically.
Yeah, and I don't know. There's, here's something about Christmas Vacation. Christmas Vacation, and people tell me you're reading too much into this. You're overthinking it. Christmas Vacation presents us Cousin Eddie, and he's the lovable goofball.
Yeah,
he's the cousin who he's dumb as a stump, but he's got a good heart, and his heart's in the right place. But 2 movies prior, in the original Vacation, his daughter says to Audrey Griswold, I French kiss. And she says, everyone does that. And she says, but Daddy says I'm the best at it.
Jesus.
So Cousin Eddie's a sex offender. the third movie, like, it just doesn't want us to think about that. But yeah. Cousin Eddie is a sex offender.
Well, you know what, though? I mean, the Vacation movies, there's only a couple of series that I can think of. Police Academy is the other one, where the first movie is like a hard R, and then it became basically kids' movies by, the late 80s.
Yeah. But same thing with RoboCop. Same thing with RoboCop. You got RoboCop 1 R-rated, RoboCop 2 R-rated. Then they started making cartoons. Right. And now suddenly he's got a cartoon series and an action figure line. And then RoboCop 3 comes out and they're like, it's PG-13 now.
Yeah. Yeah, Police Academy went from R. The second movie already wasn't R. That was PG-13. And then the third movie on was all PG. They had the cartoon show. I feel like the Vacation movies were pretty similar.
Yeah. Do they make G-rated movies anymore? I can't even think of the last time there was a G-rated movie.
So it's what I'll tell you what. What's funny is one of my most popular videos on my channel of all time is my rant at how the MPAA just is the worst, stupidest, most pointless organization. G still exists. I think the last major film to get a G rating was probably Toy Story 4, which was at this point, 3 to 4 years ago? I think it was before COVID, 2019 maybe. G is just, it's so funny because we were, the reason PG-13 existed is because 3 ratings weren't enough. G, PG, and R were not enough. We needed something in the middle. And now that we're back to 3 because G doesn't exist. PG, PG-13, and R, that's it. And
the NC-17 never took off.
NC-17 never took off. Yeah, I mean, the Toy Story 4, I think, is the last major. You know what? I'm sorry. The first Paw Patrol movie from a couple years ago, that was G. But the one that just came out, the mighty movie Paw Patrol, PG. The Paw Patrol, this for 5-year-olds, and it's PG. It's so effing stupid, Joe. I don't. Yeah. So no, for all intents and purposes, G doesn't exist anymore.
Do you know? There's a poster. See? Do you see my chair there?
Yeah.
Okay. You see that poster that's on the wall that you can't see what it is, like right here?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Do you want to venture a guess as to what that poster is? I know you can't see any of it right now.
Is it the MPA ratings with the little bunny on it that they have at Regal? Let's see. Yep, that's it. We had that at Regal when I worked there.
And you don't know how hard I had to fight to get one of those because they
I
only
bet.
send them. You have to go to NATO, the National Association of
Okay.
Theater Owners. You have
Yeah.
to go through them to get it. They don't just give them to anyone. So I had to like do some finagling because I knew I wanted this poster. Like I'm like I need that poster hanging on my wall.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, that's because we were talking about the ratings. I'm like I actually
Yeah.
have that poster hanging like right there. That I know you can't see.
Wow, that's very cool.
Oh, look at that! I'm trying to click off it on the wrong screen. It's late.
But yeah, it's just so stupid that we're down to a 3. We're back to a 3 tiered system.
I'll give you one last movie before we go, and this
Okay.
is another controversial one. I know some people hate this. Some people are like, "That's a garbage movie." I like it. I think it's an important movie too. I'm serious about that. I think it's an important movie.
Okay.
It's a very merry Muppet Christmas movie from 2002.
Okay. Don't remember it.
This was a made-for-TV movie aired on NBC, and the reason I think this is an important movie, we talked earlier in the stream about how when Jim Henson died, there was some question of whether the Muppets could survive without him. Muppet
Yeah.
Christmas Carol was the movie that proved they could. But if you watch Muppet Christmas Carol, if you watch Muppet Treasure Island, Muppets from Space, and the TV series Muppets Tonight, basically every Muppet production that ran throughout the 90s, you will see that they have something in common. Yes, the Muppets continued on. Yes, they are still doing the Muppets. But there was a real reluctance to put the characters whose performers had died front and center.
Oh. Yeah, because
Clifford-
Muppets Tonight had the the
Clifford.
host yeah.
Clifford, yeah, Kermit was there.
Clifford, yeah.
Kermit was there.
But Clifford was
And,
like the main dude.
Right, Clifford was the host. You were introduced to a lot of new characters like Pepe
Right.
and Seymour and Bobo.
Yeah.
And Frank Oz, he was kind of lessening his involvement with the Muppets because he was doing more movies, directing. So Miss
Right.
Piggy and Fozzie Bear and those characters kind of took a back seat. And there was a real concentration during those movies, starting with Christmas Carol all the way through the 90s, to make Gonzo and Rizzo like sort of your front and center Muppets.
Yeah. Oh, I remember.
And that lasted all through the 90s. This 2002 made for TV movie was the first Muppet production since since the 80s,
Hmm.
where they started to say, hey, you know what? We're going to bring back the core characters and make them the central characters again. We're going to make Kermit, even though Kermit is a new performer, he's going to be the main character again. Frank's not here. We're going to recast his characters. Miss Piggy, Fozzie Bear, they're going to be performed by Eric Jacobson now. Scooter, Ralph, and Sam Eagle, I believe, speak there. No, that's not true. Sam Eagle, Sam Eagle was Frank Oz. But no, Scooter and Ralph and some of those characters that were performed by Richard Hunt speak for the first time in over a decade in this movie. Those characters didn't say a word. They would appear in the background of scenes, but they wouldn't say a word. This was the movie that basically brought your core Muppet cast back to the forefront. So even though a lot of people don't care for this movie and are like, oh, that one's not very good, in my mind, this was the Muppet production that said, you know what? We're bringing the main characters back. They're going to be our main characters again.
Yeah.
So to me, this is a crucially important movie to Muppet fans.
Interesting.
And I don't think a lot of Muppet fans give it its due, but I really feel pretty strongly about that.
Okay. I don't remember it, so I'll have to check that one out.
It's a take on It's a Wonderful Life. Kermit wishes he'd never been born. And David Arquette appears as an angel and shows him what it would be like if he wasn't born. And There you go. And it's it also, the plot of this movie was later recycled in the first Jason Segel movie, because the plot of this
okay.
movie is they're about to lose the theater, and if they don't,
Oh, okay.
and a greedy business person's going to take about, whereas it was Chris Cooper in the
Right.
movie, it's Joan Cusack here, but it's
Okay. Oh, interesting.
so yeah, there you go.
Wow. Okay. I'll have to check that out. I love the Seagull movie.
The Segel movie's better. Make no mistake about it.
Right. But yeah, no, but I'd like to at least see where it got some of its footing. All right, Crazy Joe. Well, this was a lot of fun.
Before we go, Dante has requested that we answer this one last question.
Oh yeah.
Finally, before you leave, how about a Muppet Family Christmas? Well, Dante, we talked about that at the beginning of the stream. We were actually talking about that much earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah. I love this one. I love this one. And Dante says, do you remember Puerto Rican Panorama and AM Philadelphia? I remember AM Philadelphia. I do not remember Puerto Rican Panorama. Do you?
I don't remember that one. I remember AM Philadelphia, and in the PM, I remember Evening Magazine with with Nancy Glass and Ray. What the hell was his name, Joe?
Ray.
I can picture him. Ray Murray.
Ray Murray had the mustache, and then Nancy Glass left. Everybody always says, "Oh, Nancy Glass left, and she was replaced with Pat Shiraki." But nobody ever remembers. Well, yeah, it's sort of true, but nobody ever remembers there was a third host in between Nancy Glass and Pat Shiraki. When Nancy Glass left, she was replaced with a woman named Marianne Grabavoy.
Oh, don't remember her.
Marianne Grabavoy wasn't there too long. Then she left, and Pat Shiraki. And then eventually Ray Murray left and was replaced by Jerry Penacoli.
Oh, wow. Now that's a name I remember.
That's a name a lot of people in this area remember.
we all remember Jerry Penacoli.
I find the Jerry Penacoli story very, very interesting because in Scream, they reference the Richard Gere gerbil story.
Yeah.
And I never heard of the Richard Gere gerbil story until I saw Scream. But if you look on Wikipedia and look it up, it actually says on Wikipedia that the Richard Gere story began in Philadelphia with a local news anchor, and then as it moved out throughout the country, it turned into Richard Gere because the rest of the country didn't know who the hell Jerry Penacoli was.
Exactly.
Because then he moved to LA and was a host on E. So,
okay. I had heard the Richard Gere version, but I was always like, well, that's Jerry Penacoli's story, or whatever, or so the lore goes. But yes, I definitely remember AM Philadelphia as well.
It should be noted that there is no actual recorded cases anywhere on the books of someone sticking a gerbil up their butt.
And it was live, right? Wasn't it a live gerbil? Isn't that the bit?
Yeah, the story goes he was rushed to the hospital because it was still alive and it was trying to get out or something like that.
But that was in the 80s and early 90s when you couldn't research that it was false. So the stories just spread.
Isn't it amazing how they spread too? Because we all heard that story. Like you and I, that was grade school. We didn't know each other in grade. We were in different grade schools.
Yeah, grade school. But we knew.
Everyone knew the story. And Dante says, it's the prime time of my life, as the theme was written by Jim O'Brien, whose daughter just was on Frasier tonight. So
Jim O'Brien, rest in peace.
Yep.
Yeah. That's actually what I got to go do. I got to watch the Frasier finale.
We liked it. We liked it quite a bit. I think you'll be happy.
Okay, good.
I hope they get a second season because I haven't heard anything about a renewal yet.
10 episodes was too quick for me. It really hit its stride there in the middle.
I love Alan.
Yeah, Alan's great. I there's still things about it I don't like, but the episodes like 4 or so through like the Lilith episode were all like really great. Last week I didn't care for as much, but I'm curious about the finale. So
I'm trying to remember what one was last week. Was last week
was the one where David became Alan's assistant, and then Frasier got stuck on the couch because he hurt his knee and wouldn't ask for help.
Oh yeah, that wasn't one of the better ones.
It wasn't one of the better ones, but look, they all can't be winners. But yeah, I'm excited to see about the finale. So, all right. Well, Crazy Joe, thank you.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
So everyone, if you're not subscribed to Dan Reviews It, go subscribe to Dan Reviews It right now. And stay tuned because in the near future, we're going to be doing a watch party for the Rich Little Christmas Carol. I think I know Little Movie Perp was going to join for that, and I'll put the link out and people can join. And otherwise, till next time, keep wearing those pajamas.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
With the plastic feet.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
Tell everyone you meet.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
With the back door flap.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
Don't open, it's a trap.
Oh no!
It's a trap. Some people call them PJs. Some people call them jammies. They can come embroidered with big money and no whammies. They can have 100 tiny commander Adamas. But no matter how they look, just keep on wearing those pajamas.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
I know we're having fun.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
And now the song is done.